A new report from Reuters today says Donald Trump's bestie, Vladimir Putin, is amping up his cyber war against the American public. American-based companies like Cisco, IBM, and SAP are acceding to Russia's demands to access their products in their Russian facilities. This is bad news. The Reuters investigation found, quote, Russian authorities are asking Western tech companies to allow them to review source code for security products, such as firewalls, antivirus applications, and software containing encryption, before permitting the products to be imported and sold in the country. The requests, which have increased since 2014, are ostensibly done to ensure foreign spy agencies have not hidden any backdoors that would allow them to burrow into Russian systems. Now let's be clear. Russia's doing what we've always done. In fact, when it comes to enacting cyber war, we're the best. And don't be misled to believe that we use our powers for good or some naive idea like that. The United States government is and has been enacting cyber war against other countries, big and small, since we developed the internet. In a world of American exceptionalism, this certainly is something we can claim to be the best at. In fact, Edward Snowden highlighted another Reuters article earlier this year where the NSA's acting deputy director confirmed that 90% of all the money we spend on cyber warfare is offensive in nature. But now our geopolitical opponents like Russia are using our roadmap. Of course, this is fucking criminal. It's important to remember, these companies may be based in the United States, but it's incredibly rare to actually do business with a legitimately American company anymore. We live in a world where multinational companies, obsessed with profits, collaborate with governments, ours included, to do the bidding of those in power, and in return, those CEOs get to continue to do business or even win large government contracts. The CEOs call this behavior, quote, doing their fiduciary duty, but really it's a world filled with bribes, corruption, and greed. Now, this goes well beyond pragmatism. This is a national security threat. But the executive branch isn't exactly what you call a strong defender of either civil rights, foreign or domestic, and we know Trump's practically going out of his way to stop Russian sanctions, presumably because of either the embarrassing extortion material they have on him, the Russians' ability to ruin him financially because of the deep financial connection to Russian oligarchs and their banking system, or just flat out because he's a total coward. As we say in Texas, he's all hat and no cattle. But it's also being reported now that President Obama approved infrastructure for cyber weapons against Russia to allow for the administration to have options to retaliate if they felt it was necessary. The Washington Post broke this story. They said, quote, Obama also approved the previously undisclosed covert measure that authorized planting cyber weapons in Russia's infrastructure, the digital equivalent of bombs that could be detonated if the United States found itself in an escalating exchange with Moscow. The project, which Obama approved in a covert action finding, was still in its planning stages when Obama left office. It would be up to President Trump to decide whether to use the ability. Now, I'm going to go ahead and wager a guess that the president of the Electoral College of the United States isn't willing to do that, not ever. I guess we're going to have to count on Mike Pence to protect us from these foreign aggressions when Trump is impeached. It's up to our Congress to overrule the executive branch now to pass legislation preventing these companies from giving access to their intellectual property to the Russians. There needs to be a careful, measured approach to isolating Russian aggression in order to blunt their capabilities. This is going to require congressional action, working with our honorable civil servants in the intelligence community. And let's be honest, President Trump just isn't the guy who's capable or willing to protect the American public on this issue. He just has too much to lose personally. And if we've learned anything about Trump, he's in it for himself. And he'll stomp all over any American to make sure he enriches himself personally. My name is Daniel Goldman with Content.News, where we are always free to share the truth.